In this video, I want to teach you how to use your brakes on a dirt bike. What's up guys, I'm Dakota Freeman and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. In this video, I just want to show us everything we need to know about how to use our brakes, whether it's the front brake, the rear brake, or where do we need our bodies and our proper positioning. Mastering our brakes is truly how we become faster when we're out on the tracks and trails. So when we're first learning how to use our brakes, we're going to want to probably focus more on our rear brake. The rear brake is just going to drag the back wheel and it's going to be a little easier to use whenever we're learning. However, whenever we're now wanting to become faster at using our brakes and better and know how to stop the bike in the fastest way possible, we're going to need to know how to master our front brake. So first, let's go ahead and dive in how to use our front brake and what we need to do whenever we're doing that. The front brake is going to be huge to stopping the bike the fastest. And the way that we use our body weight with the front brake is going to be huge as well. Just like when we put on the throttle and it kind of pushes our body weight back, well now as we put the brakes on, it's naturally going to want to push our weight forward on the dirt bike. When we put the brakes on and our weight gets shifted forward like this, we want to anticipate this happening and actually be able to use our upper body to resist the motorcycle. This way we can keep our weight further back on the dirt bike and not have to worry about doing a stoppie whenever we're using our front brake in this aggressive way. So we're going to use the lever up on the handlebars and pull that in. We don't want to necessarily just grab a handful of it just like we do the clutch, because at a certain point this front brake really should lock up the front wheel, and we don't really want to do that whenever we're first getting started here. So use the front brake and get used to knowing where that point is on the brake, where it actually starts to engage, and then where it engages so much to where it locks the front wheel up. Knowing these two different places on our front brake lever is going to be huge to mastering our front brake, to where when we're coming into a corner, we know how to ease on the front brake and get the bike to start slowing down. And then we know exactly where the point of locking the front wheel up for when we really need to stop the dirt bike. So as we're learning this point on our front brake, it's going to be huge that we practice this over time and get very comfortable with it. Mastering our front brake is going to be huge to becoming the best riders we can be and make us much faster when we're trying to stop the dirt bike. So the next thing we want to do whenever we're really trying to master our front brake and we're starting to lock it on more is we really want to use our upper body to stop the dirt bike and not let the front wheel move either way. We really want to make sure that when we use our front brake, we never have the wheel turned, because if you pull the front brake in while the wheel is turned, it's actually going to lock the front wheel up and it's definitely going to put you on the ground. So as long as you have your front wheel straight, you can use as much front brake as you want, but it's just a slight turn on the handlebars is all it takes for this to grab and really lock that front end up. So we want to make sure that when we're coming into a corner or any time that we're using our front brake, that our wheel is straight. This is going to be very important to making sure that we don't go down and don't get hit by this unexpectedly. And that we know that if you have the front wheel turned a little bit and you use that front brake, it is very likely that it's going to lock it up. So it's very important that we keep practicing this and learn over time. Using the front brake in this kind of aggressive way is going to come as we get better on our dirt bikes, and we shouldn't have to rush it in the beginning. Are you feeling more confident on using your front brake? Well, make sure you like this video and drop some comments down below and ask me any other questions that you have. So now that we've covered everything we needed to know about the front brake, what do we need to do about the rear brake? The rear brake is how we kind of drag the back end of the bike around. The rear brake is great for whenever we're in a situation where we can't use the front brake and we can simply just drag the back brake, and this is going to help slow us down even when we're in a corner. So to use the back brake, all we do is press down on the lever at our right foot. That lever is going to engage the back brake and will continually slow the dirt bike down. It's actually good to not lock up the back wheel and to just apply enough brake to just keep the wheel turning but still slowing the dirt bike down. I've found that whenever I lock up the rear wheel and it starts to slide, that it really doesn't stop the bike as well as whenever it's just kind of using the back brake properly to slow the wheel down. Once it breaks loose, it just starts sliding and the brakes aren't really helping us too much at that point. Another good thing about the rear brake is when we're in a corner and you actually use the rear brake, you can pull the front end of the dirt bike around. What I mean by this is that if you come into a corner and you're trying to get the front end to really dive around the corner faster, like a big berm turn, as you're coming into that corner, you can actually use dragging your back brake to help force the bike where you want it to go. Once you get the bike pointed in the direction you want to go, you just simply release the back brake and get back on the throttle. Using the rear brake like this is really going to help you when you're in a sharp corner and you want to get around it much faster. Whenever we're actually using our brakes properly, we're going to use 90% of the front brake, and we're only going to use the rear brake 10% of the time. This is because we can use the front brake to actually stop the bike so much more than the rear brake. The rear brake's great to make adjustments in corners, in the air, or to combine with the front brake to help it stop even faster. But whenever it really comes to stopping the dirt bike, just the rear brake alone isn't going to help us too much, especially when we're out on the tracks and trails and we're going really fast. We really need to develop how to use the front brake to really master our braking. And as we do this, we're going to learn when we need to use the rear brake and when the best time for it is. But it's always good to be able to combine both of these brakes together to really get the bike stopping as fast as possible. The next thing I want to talk about the rear brake is if we're ever hitting a jump and we're in the air and you feel like your front end is too high, we can actually use the rear brake to tap the rear brake, and this will bring the front end of the dirt bike down. This is huge whenever we're hitting a jump and we get a little off kilter and something's not going right with our flight. Being able to use the rear brake like this to simply bring the nose of the dirt bike down, this could really save you before a disaster. So knowing that if you're ever in the air and your front end is too high, being able to tap your back brake is going to bring your front end down. When you tap the back brake like this though, you must have the clutch pulled in. If you are in the air and you tap the back brake without the clutch pulled in, the bike is going to stall midair. And that's going to make it much harder when you land because you won't be able to have the gas on, and it's going to be a lot of torque from that motor. So we need to make sure that if you do this, that you pull the clutch in and tap the rear brake. And as you do this, you're going to feel the front end want to come back down and plane out with the rest of the dirt bike. If it gets too low, just let the clutch back out and use a little throttle, and this will bring the front end back up just exactly how you need it for when you land. So these are great techniques that we can use with the rear brake just to make sure that we can corner better, be safer in the air, and combine it with our front brake to stop the bike the fastest. Rad fam, I am so proud of y'all for taking this time and really mastering your braking. This is really going to make you a much more confident and faster dirt bike rider. If you're looking for more dirt bike riding tips, well, I'm always here. I've made a full dirt bike riding course over on my website that's going to walk you through being a complete beginner and take you to an advanced rider mastering the tracks and trails. Make sure you go check this out, as I really think it's going to help you improve your dirt bike riding. Plus, you can find all my rad merch over on the website as well. If this video helps you master your front brake and your back brake, well, make sure you like this video and drop some comments down below and ask me any other questions that you have. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. After that, you can watch my next video right here on how to master your cornering. So check it out, stay rad, and I'll see you guys over there.